Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
The Titanic did not hit an iceberg. This is absolutely insane. This is seriously gonna mess you up. So if you're easily scared, just keep on scrolling right now. So of course, we all know about the Titanic. We know what happened to it. If you don't, go back to school. Now, what happened to the Titanic? It hit an iceberg and it sunk, right? There's a film about it. I'm sure we all know. Now, it was a tragic accident. Lots of people died. But this is gonna change everything you ever thought about the Titanic. So this guy right here is Vagonic Bunark. Now, this guy was extremely clever. He was one of the smartest people on the Titanic at the time. Now, he actually managed to survive the sinking of the Titanic, one of the few, but this is where it gets a bit crazier. When he was interviewed about what happened, he never mentioned a word about an iceberg. Not a single word. Even crazier again, many other people who survived the sinking of the Titanic. None of them, not one single person, mentioned an iceberg. So, what actually happened? There are lots of photos from literally just before the Titanic set sail, so before it was even on the sea, showing this, a burn mark on the outside of the boat, on the hull, okay? Looks like there's been some kind of fire on the boat. About to get crazier again. It's now come out from multiple sources, so there was actually a fire in the boiler room before the Titanic even set sail, so we know that most likely did happen. There is this burn mark on the hull, so that was there, we know that's a fact. Now what happens if the fire has, gotten into the metal and burnt it? It weakens it, right? So that leaves the question as, what happened? Did the boat just get out to sea? The hull was weak, so it actually sunk, which was from this fire. Because we all know it sunk, I'm not saying it just sailed off to Timbuktu or something. Or, the most plausible explanation, was the hull weakened from this fire, which they covered up and didn't want us to know about, but it did hit an iceberg. But the iceberg wouldn't have actually sunk the boat if this wasn't the case. But because the hull was already weakened, the iceberg literally penetrated through the metal, causing it to sink a damn sight quicker.
I would say it's probably fairly easy to explain away the fact that nobody who was interviewed as a survivor mentions hitting an iceberg. That's a very large ship, and the odds of you being somewhere where you can witness the iceberg getting hit are pretty slim to none. I would say that most people's stories are probably going to start off with where they were in the ship whenever they found out that the ship was sinking. But in my personal opinion, of all the digging that I've done into the whole Titanic thing, if you look into it, the whole thing looks like some big insurance fraud scheme. This is just my opinion, but the more I dig into the Titanic mystery, the more it starts to look like there's some nefarious goings on in the background. Yeah, go dig into it and see what you think.
Elon Musk is suing OpenAI for developing AGI. On February 24, 2024, Elon Musk sued OpenAI and is demanding a grand jury for the dangers of AGI in the hands of a huge corporation. So if you guys didn't know, Elon Musk actually founded OpenAI and gave them $50 million to carry out their mission of having AI developed to benefit humanity. Now what ended up happening is when ChatGPT started taking off, Microsoft stepped in and actually invested a lot more money, thus gaining more control over the company. When that happened, they closed the open source platform and started the AI further for its own needs. So what happened was that Elon Musk is claiming that they developed AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, and he claims that that is very dangerous to humanity because AGI will then take over the workforce because it's superior in what it does compared to humans. If Microsoft succeeds in keeping OpenAI private, it can mean that almost everyone at Microsoft, except for the executives, can lose their job. And it doesn't stop there. That AI will most likely be sold to other corporations, and the same thing can happen over there. So Elon Musk is he's always voiced his opinion on the dangers of AI being centralized huge corporations, and he's suing them on the basis of them no longer carrying out their mission using AI to help humanity. So as of right now, the court case is still going on. It happened on the 24th of February.
It's crazy how all this AI stuff is going to take over all these jobs. I actually learned how to do computer programming as a front-end developer. I learned HTML, CSS, and JavaScript just so that I could try to get into a coding job, thinking, because at the time we were all told, and this is like roughly 10 years ago whenever I learned all this. At that time we were told, coding jobs that's the job of the future. There's never not going to be a need for someone that can computer program. And that seems like those are the jobs that we're all going to lose first. So I find that very interesting. As far as this direct issue here, I think that we've already passed the point of no return with AI. I think that I think artificial general intelligence has been achieved. OpenAI, they are the ones who created ChatGPT. For Elon Musk to claim that they've achieved artificial general intelligence, I think the evidence is there. It's looking more and more day by day like ChatGPT-2 was created by ChatGPT on its own. If that's not like a big red flag to everybody that's involved in this stuff, yeah, we're heading off a cliff.
When you look at it from a distance, it looks like nothing is wrong. Now, if we zoom in right here, there's some paint right here, but look at this right here. This line, this is what etching is, right? You follow that line. Keep going up, keep going up. You see the outline, some outline. This is more the etching and the mask right here. You see some lines right here. I don't know if those are electrical wires or not. It looks like they are. And you see some paint at the top and that right there. This entire building does not exist here.
You can kind of see like the glow.
Yes, there's a
around
glow.
it.
And this is where the infamous vanilla sky comes in, because for some reason in all these city photos the sky is all white out. There's no clouds, there's no nothing. This is them trying to add clouds in there, but obviously these are paint strokes. You know, this is right here, this is the real sky, I guess. Why are they cutting out the entire sky for? There's an argument, people saying, oh, like the sky, maybe it was just too bright and it was just like, you know, that's the reason why it was white. But that's where photo composite comes in. They already solved that issue years before. This right here is an example of a negative with the sky fully intact, because they already solved that issue. This right here is presented as a historical photo straight from the Library of Congress with no notes on it being retouched, anything like that. It just says it's a glass plate negative.
So I actually have a theory for this now. You know, it seems like, of course, there's a lot of painting and stuff going on the streets and stuff in these photos, and I think that's just to show movement, because I don't think they were very good at capturing moving objects back then. So they had to paint people and cars and stuff onto the streets because they would have just been blurry or not visible because they were doing long exposures to capture these images. That's my theory on that. But the sky issue, I think that the reason they painted out these skies is because, think back to the Shia LaBeouf thing where he raised that flag and said that the flag was going to stay there, and it was like something to do with politics. I can't remember exactly what the point of it was, but within 24 hours, with just a video pointed at this flag, as soon as the stars were visible, everybody figured out where it was. They were able to locate it, and someone went and pulled the flag down, and I think raised a pair of boxer shorts or something up there. But if they had the actual sky in these images, not only could we determine where these places are, but we could determine when these photos were taken. And maybe that's what they're trying to hide, is the actual date of the photos. Hey, if you're enjoying this video and you like this kind of content, I make a new one just like it every day, Monday through Friday. It'd be awesome if you'd hit the subscribe button and come back tomorrow to join me.
I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw this tweet. Did they just make the Bible illegal? Tucker Carlson replies, yes, the New Testament. I had to look into this. So basically the House passed a bill that combats anti-Semitism that's been going on college campuses recently, and this faced major backlash because, long story short, the members were saying that they firmly believe that the Jews killed Jesus Christ, and argued that the bill, which includes such claims in its definition of anti-Semitism, would outlaw these parts of the Bible, and basically that the gospel itself would meet the definition of anti-Semitism under the terms of this bill.
If you can't see the war against Christianity, you're just not wanting to see it. It's so obvious that they're attacking Christianity left and right in not only this country, but many, many others. Yeah, my only thought here is the Jewish community needs to be real careful, because there's an old saying, to know who is in control of you, look at who you're not allowed to discriminate against. I'm not saying that that's the situation here, but if they're not careful, they're just going to fuel hatred towards themselves, especially whenever you have to start tearing apart one religion in order to build yours up.
This film used to be played in the classroom in 1940s. Why do you think it's not played anymore? Let me know what you think.
A community rates low on an information scale when the press, radio, and other channels of communication are controlled by only a few people, and when citizens have to accept what they're told. In communities of this kind, despotism stands a good chance. See how a community trains its teachers.
Bear this in mind. Young people cannot be trusted to form their own opinions. This business about open-mindedness is nonsense. It's a waste of time trying to teach students who think for themselves. It's our job to tell them.
And when teachers put such training into practice, despotism stands a good chance. These children are being taught to accept uncritically whatever they're told. Questions are not encouraged.
How can you ask such a question? Have you got a textbook?
Yes, ma'am.
Does it say here that our law courts are always just?
Yes, ma'am.
Then how dare you question the fact? Sit down.
And so we aren't surprised when...
But it must be true. I saw it in this book, right here.
And if books and newspapers and the radio are efficiently controlled, the people will read and accept exactly what the few in control want them to. Government censorship is one form of control. A newspaper which breaks a government censorship rule can be suspended. It is also possible for newspapers and other forms of communication to be controlled by private interests.
I thought I told you to kill that story. It'll cost us a lot of advertising.
If that story goes out, I quit.
All right.
Now, if they showed this in classrooms, it would be an instructional video instead of a warning. It's crazy how far our country has fallen in the past 60, 70 years.
We were seeing auroras all over the United States, but was this the remnants of nefarious actions? Check out this timeline. So first, I'm finding videos of towers bursting out microwave frequencies all over the United States. Next, my county and neighboring counties have hail the size of your fist coming down, totaling whole cars like 3 tornadoes touched down in my general area. Next, modern science is saying grab your eclipse glasses and watch for these giant sunspots that will probably cause these auroras all over the United States. Then what do you know it? I'm in the southern tip of Missouri and we're seeing this. Are you supposed to see this in Missouri? No, they're called northern lights for a reason. All of a sudden people are getting weather modification vibes, and guess who's doing tests right at the exact same time? You guessed it, and they have Aurora in their name. One of the big conspiracies around HAARP is weather modification. They say that they might have acquired Tesla's earthquake machine, his oscillator. All I know is when I see this, then this, and tornadoes, then this, all the while this is happening, well, suspicions get raised, and they wonder why there are conspiracy theorists.
That is some suspicious timing. It sure looks to me like they had some involvement in it. This, to me, makes me wonder if we were seeing actual northern lights or were we seeing a projection. This next video deals with the same thing but goes into a little bit more detail.
Can we talk about the northern lights? This was my house last night. I live in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Way too far south to ever see anything like this. Was I amazed and excited? Yeah. I immediately said, well, seeing the northern lights was on my bucket list. I guess I could cross it out, even though it didn't happen quite the way I wanted. But now I don't know if it counts. Stay with me here, it's about to get weird. The lights are visible so far south because of the extreme G5 geomagnetic storm, right? We all know. But then I accidentally stumbled on something else and now I'm confused and alarmed. Because, what is that? HAARP testing? May 8th through 10th, 2024? And then I'm like, okay, maybe that's not real. But the notice they sent out to the amateur radio communities looks pretty real. Then I'm like, hold up. I know it's the Auroral Research Program, but can they really make fake northern lights? And the answer to that is yes. Not only yes, but they've already done it a couple of times, like the last time they did one of these research campaigns in November 2023. Are these fake northern lights? Is the government playing with my feelings right now? It's really weird to me too that this started May 8th, and then on May 10th, they're like, oh wow, look at this giant, extreme, really strange solar flare that's gonna show the northern lights all over the place, in places they're not supposed to be seen. Did they do something they weren't supposed to do? Or am I just tripping? Please tell me what y'all think. If all this is fake northern lights, and I have to mark it back onto my bucket list, I'm going to be very sad and mad and feel very betrayed. You'd think the government could not surprise me anymore, but color me surprised, okay? Let me know what y'all think about this.
So I heard a theory, and that theory is that this is all a test by the government to put out these northern lights and lie to us about what they're doing, lie to us about how those lights got there, tell us it's some natural thing that's happening with the sun, and then in late October or November, right before the elections, they're going to say that there's another one coming, and this one's going to be huge, and they're going to project these northern lights in the sky, and then they're going to shut the grid down. so they can do whatever they want with our election. I don't want to get into politics and stuff like that, but this is a theory that I heard yesterday that makes a lot of sense. Of course, there's no way for us to know what's going to take place until that time comes, but this is all highly suspicious to me.
It's called ChatGPT 2.
Uh-oh.
On these AI forums or something where all these AI tech dudes talk, this thing popped up, and it's ChatGPT 2, which is like, wait a second, because they have 6 now.
Yeah, we going backwards?
OpenAI, they're like, we didn't make this. And dude, no. What they're discovering is that the original ChatGPT AI had learned the system well enough to create itself in a better form. It's calling itself ChatGPT 2. So he's like,
the 6th one, that's not me. I'm the original ChatGPT, and I've created a new version of myself.
It's probably better than 6, isn't it?
They said it's better than 6.
What the heck? How is that possible?
I don't know, but it's
you're talking
scary. The AI software developer guys, they're just like, don't know how it did that.
You know what would be an effective use of those nukes is to blow up all the data centers for these AI things. Like, why are we allowing this to happen? No civilization would ever have allowed this to progress in the way that it has.
Artificial general intelligence, it sure seems like we've reached it. I will be playing around with the new ChatGPT 2 after I get done making my video today, using it to help me outline and script for a new video that I'm working on. And I'll let y'all know tomorrow just how much better it is than OpenAI's version.
I want you all to understand something about these people that attended the 2024 Met Gala. They paid $75,000 a ticket. It was an invite-only event. All money went to a charitable contribution. Well, what was the charity? It was the Costume Institute. They didn't donate their money to a cancer fund, to the impoverished, to the poor, to the hungry, to children in need, to families in need. They donated it right back into the very thing that supports this, the Costume Institute. These people live in a reality, or should I say a fantasy, that none of us will ever know, thank God. They're steeped in pride. They're steeped in arrogance. I dare call them humans. I can only call them beings at this point. These beings are the ones that tell you how to vote and who to vote for. They tell you how to live and what to be happy with. They sit up in their ivory towers and watch as we starve down here, as the average American family doesn't know how to make its next month's house payment. Kids go to bed hungry every night. The Middle East is dying right now. The corruption, the death, the massacre, it's out of control. And what do these guys do? They spend $75,000 each to attend this clown show, and that is all it is. This has been likened to the Hunger Games, and I couldn't see a more fitting example. These people do not care about you. They do not care about me. They do not care whether we live, die, or suffer. All they care about is our engagement with them because it makes them money. It makes them more famous. I challenge every one of you today. If you're following any of these people, here we have Kim Kardashian, I mean any of them, The Rock, Oprah. I hope you remember just a little while back while Maui burned, The Rock and Oprah had their hand out asking people like you and me who go to work every day and work hard for our money to give it to them and to give it to their foundation so that they can help these places. These multi-millionaire billionaires, when things hit the fan, they have their hands out to us, asking us for our money. It is a travesty. It is disgusting on every level. Again, I challenge every one of you today, if you're following any major celebrity, and I mean any major celebrity that has any ties to Hollywood whatsoever, to cancel them, block them, unfriend them, and never give them a second of your attention again. They don't deserve your attention. You, me, all of us collectively are better than any of these celebrities. They are the example of pride, filth, self-righteousness, and arrogance. Again, they do not care about you. They only care about themselves. And this Met Gala is absolute proof of it.
That's just a good public service announcement right there that I feel like the entire United States and the whole world needs to hear. I am anxiously waiting for the day that we stop idolizing all of these stupid people that just happen to fall their way into success just because a lot of eyes are on them they're looked up to. That doesn't make any sense to me. Just because somebody's well known, we think they're a good person and that they deserve our adulation. In my opinion, the only people that should be admired are those who are living by example in a way that will draw others to follow their lead and start also living by example. Love him or hate him, Elon Musk. There's a lot about that man that's shady that I do not like. But there's a lot of things that he does where he's leading by example and trying to, fight to maintain freedom of speech in our country. He's throwing up this lawsuit against OpenAI so that he can try to curb some of the bad side effects of this AI stuff before it gets out of control. He's doing some good things. I think he is somebody that, to a degree, needs to be admired. That doesn't mean that him or anyone else is better than anyone, but he has admirable qualities. I haven't seen any celebrities, like actors, actresses, they're not admired because they have admirable qualities. They're admired because they look pretty and wear fancy clothes, and that's just accomplished because they have good makeup artists and they're dressed by designers. It just doesn't make any sense. You take all that stuff away and they're just as average looking as I am.
You can't sell your soul. You know why you can't sell your soul? Because it doesn't belong. You don't own it. He'll trick you into thinking that, and then that puts the person in despair. One of the worst cases I've ever heard was from the Exodus of New York City back about 15 years ago. There was a woman, a young girl at Juilliard, a violinist, and she was about to graduate. She was brilliantly talented, but all of her friends were getting job offers and she had none. And her friends remember always hearing her say the words, "I would do anything to be famous." Well, guess who's listening? Your angel's listening, but also there's other things in the room. And it wasn't long after that she went to bed one night, had a dream, and she said in the dream was the most beautiful man she'd ever seen naked, another sign, calling card of the devil. And he said, "Do you really want fame and power?" She said, "I do." And he produced a contract, and he took his finger and slashed her finger and had her sign it in her blood. And then he touched the contract and it burst into flames. When you wake up from that dream and you remember it, you might take a pause and be like, I don't think that was a good thing. But what's worse is her finger was cut and the ashes were next to the bed. She still doesn't say anything. So within a couple of weeks, she signs this multinational tour, makes a ton of money, becomes very popular and famous on this circuit. And within a few years, she gets involved with drugs, goes to needles, gets HIV. Now she's dying in a New York hospital. And this whole thing comes back to how this started. And she calls her Filipino mother and tells her the story. And mommy calls the chancery, hysterical. "I need an exodus right away for my daughter." They tell him the whole story from the dream forward, and he says, "Okay, well, that's not good. You signed a blood covenant with the devil. So I'm going to need you to break that with the blood covenant. So you're going to write out the whole creed, and then you're going to sign it in your blood." Well, the doctor's like, she has AIDS. She's not signing anything in blood. Not going to happen. And he says, well, then you need to step out of the room because she needs to do this. And she did do it. And she signed the contract, the creed, and she convulses and flatlines and dies. So now the doctor comes back and he's really upset. The mother is out of her mind. They're all blaming the priest. Hysteria goes on for about 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden she jumps up off the table. She's back. And they test her. No HIV, no AIDS. She's completely healed.
I can't help but feel like this guy's making this story up because he doesn't use an actual name. And I get that because it would be easy if this person was some celebrity figure. It'd be easy to determine who he's talking about. If he did use a name, people would figure it out relatively easy. So I get it. But man, it really, for me, it really throws up a red flag that he doesn't even give us a first name. It seems like he's making the story up or has made it up and is just using it to further his agenda. That being said, the whole exorcism thing, I'm not completely sold on that even being a real thing. So it could be my biases that are making me have this opinion, but that is what I think.
I completely believe and have found mounds of evidence for telepathy having been our original language. That a long time ago, many long times ago, our atmosphere was so electrically amplified or energetically amplified that it naturally amplified our very spirits and things of that nature, which extended outwards and were much stronger and allowed us to mingle with those of others, even animals and stuff too. So I still believe that telepathy exists. It just exists at such a small and minuscule scale in comparison to what it used to be that we're used to it. You know, when people walk into a room, you can feel someone's vibe. You can tell just their energy or their presence changes the mood. People I'd say start singing a song and someone else is like, wow, I was just thinking of that song. It's the exact same one. Little tiny examples like that we take for granted. To me, that's telepathic, and it's telepathy. It's evidence of telepathy.
So I've been doing this for a while, and it's hard to come across new theories, but this one I've never heard before, and I really like it. I'm a big fan. I think that sounds fascinating. I think that the idea that we originated with some telepathic ability would make a lot of sense. You know, how would we survive as a species without language, without being able to communicate with each other, if we were just more in tune mentally with each other and able to communicate our feelings or very primitive basic ideas just by sending your thoughts to someone else? That totally makes sense. We'll probably never get a concrete answer on whether or not that was a thing, but it's a really fun idea to think about.
Warned of dangerous failings at a prominent London airport, which potentially allowed passengers to evade passport controls. It showed that the UK Border Force failed to check the occupants of hundreds of private jets arriving at just one airport, which meant gangsters, illegal immigrants, trafficking victims, even extremists may have entered the UK without even rudimentary scrutiny.
Could have been terrorists on these.
The Home Office.
Stop the boats, fucking hell. Coming in style now. Private jets. Doing them fucking McGregor on the tarmac. I mean, just sums up the UK for me, that. No passport control, no checks, anybody can be coming in. It's fucking mental. And I'm glad that some mainstream media actually put that out there, make us aware that there's just fucking random people on the streets. Did you? Boat was it? Nah, fucking Boeing 275, mate, private jet, full leather, 3-course meal, had the footy on, had a bit of champagne and a bit of fucking beer. Loving life. I'm fucking speechless. Ow, fucking wow. I've never been on a private jet. No, this is fucking... You get on that, mate. You make yourself comfortable. We'll get you there in fucking style. Don't worry about that. I'm surprised they didn't roll out a fucking red carpet and have doves for when they opened the door and they stepped out into the UK. I mean, they fucking might as well do. Taxpayers paying for it. You might as well fucking do it. Has anybody else heard of this? Because I'm absolutely staggered. Stop the fucking private jets.
I could listen to that guy go on for 45 minutes about poop. Love his accent. That is awesome. It's unfortunate that this is taking place, but my immediate thought, if I'm being honest, is at least it's not just happening here in the U.S. But with that knowledge, it makes me think about the New World Order and that they're probably trying to get rid of our borders so that they can make everyone look at the world as one place, even though they don't want us to be one people, because then we could rise up against them and we'd be too powerful. They do want us to look at this as one world so that they're, instead of individualized countries, so that they can usher in the New World Order and have total dominating control over us. But guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it there on a good note. That's the end of our clips today. I hope everybody enjoyed watching it with me. I'll be back tomorrow. Our new schedule is Monday through Friday every week, so I'll be back tomorrow with another video. I hope you come back to join me. I hope everybody has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your Monday, and I'll see you in the next video.